Good morning, night, afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are. I am your host today, Kyran, and joining me are Ledge, Sage, Steel, and once again, Athena. Today, we have a topic that will easily cover all 30 minutes, roughly, of the podcast, and that is what would happen if Itachi had become Hokage? When would it have happened, and how? Take us away, Ledge.
All right. So, Itachi, during the fight after he defeated Kabuto, in the war arc, he said to Sasuke that he wished he had done things differently, that instead of doing the anti-coup assassination, that he should have just come to Sasuke and worked together and communicated with his own village. This would have been more in line with Itachi's learnings from Shisui, because he was more of a leader and a compassionate person anyway. So if he did that, convinced his clan not to do the coup, and they built a better relationship with the Leaf, and this was assuming that Itachi would continue his path and obviously become Hokage shortly after that, probably by the time he was like 20.
I kind of like that. So, kind of how I picture it happening would be he goes and talks to Sasuke. And with Sasuke's help, they talk to his father. Because his father's one of the most influential people in the coup. And if you have both of your sons talking to you and telling you not to do a coup, I mean, how do you say no?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Shishui was already dead at that point, I
He
believe.
was.
Can I add something to that, like
No,
supplementary?
Athena, what's your
Go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, Steel,
It's
go.
totally fine. All right. No, but
Didn't mean to steal your thunder.
in addition to what Kyron was saying, another thing that would probably come out of that is the exposure of what Danzo was up to. In my
Yeah.
opinion, if you started telling Uchiha Fugaku what was happening
Wait.
on the side that Fugaku being his father,
Okay,
Okay.
thank
Yeah.
what
in
was
case you
happening
guys
on the
didn't know.
side that
I already
Itachi
knew,
was
so.
witnessing, I knew what the hesitation meant. Then I believe that Fugaku would be able to put some things together, and they would be able to then basically push for, hey, this is really suspicious. Shisui went and killed himself after he lost an eye to Danzo. Can we check this guy out a little bit? And
Danzo
then they
actually
would have
Let me
admitted
get one of
noticed
these
a bunch of what they were
Bakugan,
doing.
Byakugan users to look at Danzo. Oh, yep, his eye's green. That's Shishui's eye. Yeah, he's been stealing eyes. Kill him.
Would you look
And
at that? There's a lot of weird chakra points all over the right side of his body.
it would
What happened?
absolutely be a positive development for the Leaf.
It's
Danzo
that
is
guy
a
right over
poison.
there. He has a green eye. Look.
Yes, that's the main officer. Good thing they had the police to take him down. Get it? Because it's the Uchiha.
Oh my
And
god.
I can't imagine how many times Danzo used the Koro Matsukami during his influence.
Mm.
You
Because
know
he
what's
could use
okay?
it once a day.
Yeah, that's
So what I
insane
would
to me.
what I would see happening. So let's say the Uchiha do not plan the coup because of Fugaku, the father, being convinced by Itachi and Sasuke. So Itachi then goes with Fugaku, his father, to the third Hokage and the two elders, who they trust Itachi because I mean they literally asked him to assassinate his own people. So they trust him, and if they have his input as well as the head of the Uchiha clans saying that they will not do the coup, they would side with them over Danzo. Danzo, seeing this, would panic. Now, again, his his allegiance is to keep the Leaf safe, but he doesn't really like. Well, hold on, he doesn't like the third's opinion. So what I kind of picture him doing is at that point attempting to kill all of them himself, with Toby's help still.
Kill
I think that would still happen.
all of who?
The Uchiha. Sorry,
He
I
wouldn't
didn't clarify.
succeed though.
Oh, Danzo.
No, he wouldn't. But like, who would?
The
Do you
clan-
think he would get Sasuke, for instance?
No, I don't.
Would he try
The
to do that out
clan
of
would
spite?
be on high alert because they would at that point realize that they were almost assassinated by one of their own. You've also got Itachi on their side. I don't believe that he would succeed at all. In fact,
Do
I
you
think
think he
it
would
would
try,
be
or
his
do you
death.
think he would escape?
I think he would try. He's the type of person who does like the whole cornered rat thing. He really doesn't run. He just thinks that he'll win no matter
Yeah.
what. And I don't know how he justifies to himself that everything he's done has been for the good of the Leaf. That's maybe a side topic, but
That's
I've never
self-delusion.
agreed with it. It's very obviously not for the good of the Leaf. He literally destroyed a bunch of their strength by taking out the entire Uchiha clan. Anyway, I'm digressing a
90%.
little, but
The other 10%'s Minato.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't really
Danzo's
have a
an awful
problem
person.
with the Uchiha clan basically getting taken out how they did in the story, because at the end of the day, that was more beneficial than not doing it. It's a hard
Wait,
choice
why
for
though?
Itachi, but you think
You're
about...
wrong.
No, I'm right. So,
Uh-uh.
I mean, if that's how
No.
we're stating our opinions, then I'm right. But
You're just like it's better that the whole clan died. I don't know how you
it's
think
not...
Not
that
the whole
No, no,
clan.
no. The
Sasuke's
whole
alive.
clan that was going to do a coup died. If you can work it out like you guys were talking, yes,
he
absolutely.
killed other children.
Huh?
Yeah, it wasn't just the fact of those who were planning the coup. He had to kill the innocents as well.
He
That
killed the
was Danzo's
civilians. There were
because
Uchiha
they would have felt resentment. Sorry, I couldn't find the word towards the Leaf
Yeah.
because I mean,
We do have to push this forward onto the Hokage stage at
it's
some
true.
point.
I mean, this is half the topic.
I mean,
Would
you guys
someone-
just stomped what I was going to say. It's fine. Go ahead.
No,
Well,
fine.
Are you guys saying that Itachi made the wrong choice?
I'm.
Well,
I'm
that's what
saying that
Itachi
Itachi
said.
was a child and he felt it was the best
He
choice
even
he
said
could
he
make.
made the wrong choice.
No.
So yeah, I kind of do.
Yes, but he wanted to do it differently. He didn't. He couldn't just
I
not
think-
do it. He
I
couldn't just
think
go
that
down
he-
with the clan that was going to go down anyway.
Well, I think that he had the best of intentions. I don't think Itachi in any way believed he was making the wrong choice, but I think if he'd had the benefit of age and wisdom that he had later when he talked to Sasuke and expressed regret, he wouldn't have made the same choice.
Maybe, but
And I
that means
think-
he's kind of a bad guy. Like, the whole basis of one of the coolest anime characters,
No.
Itachi, is that you think he's a bad guy
Bad
the whole
guy.
time, and then when it swings around, it's like, oh,
Alright.
he did that
He's
because
not
it
a
was
bad
literally
guy.
for the good of the entire village over his
Okay.
own clan.
Here's my point of view on that. They were both the correct decisions, as in they both could have solved the problem. He didn't see the other one because he was probably afraid for Sasuke. Because Danzo could have killed all of them.
And
with,
Danzo
like,
played
working
on
together
that
with
fear.
Robi.
Yeah.
And he just saw his best friend Shisui, who was more powerful than him in some ways, get defeated by Danzo more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he
Danzo's a
just could've
master
suicide.
manipulator. I think we can agree that he definitely backed Itachi into a corner where he felt the only decision he could make that was right for the Leaf and allowed his brother to live was to go along with Danzo's plan.
Which was like if you had an A-B situation, like if you ranked the decisions he could have made, that was like B. I personally, I may be wrong. I personally think the best decision would have been to go to Sasuke and to convince his father, because I think he and Sasuke could have convinced his father, and then with his pull, they could have convinced others. Maybe not everyone. Maybe they
think
would have had to kill a few.
I think the third Hokage was reluctant about the plan in the first place. Had
I don't know
Fugaku
why.
He
come
was
to him and
reluctant.
said, "Hey, we're willing to set aside this coup. It's just that we need to have a talk about Danzo." I think that the third Hokage would have given that a lot of weight and consideration.
Yeah, exactly. You guys need to remember that it wasn't just like Danzo going behind his back and almost convincing
No.
Itachi to do it. It was with the
He had
board.
the
It was with
stupid-ass
the third
elders.
Hokage, or
Pardon my
or it
friend.
was just the two elders, I think. So at the end of the day, I think the two elders and third Hokage know Itachi's not actually a criminal after the fact, but they had to, do what happened.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on the third Hokage are something that'll have to be set aside for a more specific time, because they're way too long to cover in this discussion. But if we wanted to move forward into the next phase, so we were talking about basically how Itachi could become Hokage. Now we've covered the first part of it. How could he have potentially prevented the Uchiha massacre? Because I don't think there's a realistic way he could be Hokage if he'd killed his whole clan. Even if a few people knew he had done it, you couldn't publicly reveal that information.
Good point.
It would be very destabilizing. So, in my opinion, the only path to the Hokage's chair would be if he didn't kill his clan, somehow that was prevented. So we've covered a few kind of scenarios where that would happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I
Um,
don't think there's a path that leads to Hokage after that.
Yeah, I think that's just pretty easy to agree on. Now, the third Hokage had made it pretty clear that he had already retired once. He didn't want to stay Hokage for any longer than was absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
So I don't
Tsunade was the
think
fifth, correct?
she
Yeah.
was. I don't think after that point, and it only happened because the third Hokage died
Yes.
in the attack by Orochimaru.
Right.
I don't think after that point that the path to becoming Hokage would be all that complicated for Itachi. He is extremely talented,
Oh, it's
um,
easy.
and
Let me add something to that, actually.
Staples.
If you think about the test scores in the academy, it's first is Minato, second is Itachi, period. So there it is right there.
I still don't know
Yeah.
how he was second. That's insane.
In
I think the
the
third Hokage would have let him be Hokage pretty
Yeah.
easily.
in
And I have
the
a point.
well,
Go ahead, Lich.
that's a quote from the third Hokage. I was wanting to address. In the show and the comic book, they stated that he had the mindset of a Hokage when he was 7 years old.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
I
like,
actually
it was
think
an
he'd have.
obvious. It's an obvious path that we're discussing.
Well,
Go ahead.
sorry, just a quick thing that occurred to me. I
Sure.
actually think he would be asked to be Hokage. I don't think Itachi would seek it out, but I think that he would be asked to
wouldn't
be
need to.
Hokage. And
Good
wouldn't
I
point.
think he'd accept it if he felt it was the best thing for the
Oh,
leaf.
absolutely. His main
reason-
priority is the leaf, so. And
So the
Sasuke.
reason I'd agree with you is because the people that decide and agree are the Hokage, the elders, and the general population. One, both the elders. So I'll start with the elders. Obviously, they're a
Finicky?
fickle. They're a fickle pair.
Okay.
But after seeing Itachi both agree to assassinate his people and then be able to change the mind of the Uchiha clan and
Yeah.
want to follow a path that was peaceful and the best for the leaf, I think they would instantly be like, yeah, we need this guy.
Yeah.
And then the people would also see the same.
Hey,
I mean, that's
real quick,
conflict resolution.
if you look at timelines as well, you have Naruto became Hokage at 19, I think. That's
Yep.
probably the youngest. I think Minato was older than that, right?
I think he was. I think he became Hokage in
Now-
his
Wait,
early 20s.
what's the timeline that we're talking about?
I'm
I might
talking
be able
about
to-
ages. So if you look at when Minato died, how old was Itachi?
Oh,
like,
young, like
Like,
4 or
yeah.
something. I
Oh
think.
yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
4 or 5.
So you
he was
still
protecting
have that placeholder
Sasuke.
Yeah.
of third Hokage sitting in. Now, he would definitely have become, if he's just a placeholder until basically Itachi does like the studying that's required or whatever it was that Naruto had to do that took 2 years. And then you have obviously, let's say
Take him like a week.
let's say probably 16 at the
X.
youngest. Okay? At the absolute youngest, probably 16, right?
How old was he when he would have assassinated everyone?
Was it
14.
13?
14.
Okay, 14.
Well, no,
Okay.
he was 16 because Mangekyo was 16.
Are you
What?
sure?
He was 16 when he assassinated everybody. So yes.
No, he's 14.
Nope, he wasn't
this.
because he was a captain at 13, and then
I
he
don't thi-
unlocked his Mangekyo when
I'll-
Shisui died at 16.
I'll double check for you guys just to be sure, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just going to take me a minute so you can
Go
talk
ahead
about
with what you were saying, Sam.
Okay, yeah, so all I'm trying to work out now is how long of a placeholder would third Hokage be there until he took over, and what events would Itachi be covering? It'd be a lot. I think basically all of them. There's not much in that span, I think. So you have from Minato's death to Itachi turning, let's say, 16. So like 12 years?
It says that he was 13 when the coup was snuffed.
Oh, actually maybe, because he just got promoted to captain of the Envoy.
So would he have been 15, maybe, as a Hokage? Or would 16 make more sense? Do you think the elders would have insisted?
Good point. I know that the studying took Naruto a while. I don't know about Itachi, but
Well, that was just
Okay.
because Naruto wasn't a Jonin yet. That's the only reason they couldn't promote him. Because he was
So
still a Genin.
let's say he becomes Hokage at 15-16. I don't think that changes too much. Here's a thought. Did he already know about the Akatsuki
at 16?
at that age? Yeah. When he left, he found them, but did he know already, or was that because of Toby?
He
don't
he
remember.
already had the mission of going to join them when he left.
Okay.
So he knew about them then.
Seems like the kind of guy that would know that sort of thing.
Okay, because I feel like he'd be a lot more proactive when it comes to the Akatsuki than the third was. The question is, could he have prevented a lot of what happened before it even happened, if that makes sense?
Maybe.
Depending on, what do you mean? What happened?
Like with the Akatsuki, everything that they did.
Oh.
Maybe.
The whole
Okay,
thing with pain.
let's look at the lineup real quick of if things went as we just explained them. We have first Hokage, second Hokage, third Hokage for his normal run and then like a little fill-in, but not much. Fourth Hokage until he died, and then Itachi all the way until basically Naruto takes over. So there's no Tsunade, there's no third Hokage fill-in after that fact.
And
So
Kakashi's very
he could
reluctant,
even-
so he
and-
would.
well, yeah, there would be no Kakashi.
If Itachi's still
would
alive,
just
there
be
wouldn't be a Kakashi.
straight
Yeah.
from Itachi to
No, that
Naruto.
happened. No, that happened beforehand. Kakashi was there before Itachi assassinated everyone. He had the eye already.
Yeah.
I meant Kakashi
Remember,
wouldn't be Hokage.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Kakashi
yeah.
absolutely would. So it would just be all
He's very
powerhouses.
reluctant.
You have,
He
you know,
wouldn't.
Itachi through all the events up until, let's say Naruto takes over the same time. So you have all that time to cover. Let's start at some events here. Let's go to the Tuning's exam attack and just talk about how that would be differently. Steel?
Would Orochimaru have still
Hold
attacked
on,
the third?
hold on.
Can I?
Okay, actually, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why I started talking.
Sorry, Ledge.
The attack wouldn't happen. It was led by Orochimaru, who is
Okay.
definitely afraid of Itachi, and this is now an Itachi that isn't poisoned by his eyes because he wouldn't have to use Amaterasu all the time.
Is he definitely
True.
afraid of him? Because
I
that event never
realize
happened, though.
we may have moved past this original question,
Fine,
but
then
I'm
the attack happens, and Orochimaru gets
Sorry, go
smacked.
ahead,
Come.
Steel. and we'll
I,
get back
I
to-
can confirm from 2 or 3 different sources that Itachi was 13 at the
Yeah.
Uchiha massacre and Sasuke was age 7.
Okay.
Okay, but real quick, what Ledge just said. Is Orochimaru still deathly afraid of Itachi because that event where he scared him never happened?
Not yet.
Oh, I got this. Itachi still wants his body, so he's going to try to get Itachi's body.
Orochimaru's body?
Or
Orochimaru
Orochimaru still wants
Itachi,
Itachi's
yeah.
body. He's going to try to get his
Oh.
body, and then yeah.
Regardless, he's gonna try to get his body. Is what you're saying, and he'll get scared at some point.
But
Okay.
I don't think
Yeah.
he would try to get it at the Chunin exam where
No,
everybody's
it would have been
rounded up.
earlier.
I
It would
think
have been
he'd try
earlier.
it earlier and try to do it at a time when he thought he could
And he would
corner
have gotten
Itachi by
scared
himself.
earlier because this is a very mature Itachi. He wouldn't have just killed him on the spot. He would have scared him the
Question.
same way that he did.
Would Itachi have even let him live this time? He did it then to
Yes.
like not.
Because he's
It-
in the Akatsuki.
Itachi's a pacifist.
Yeah.
Would there even be an Orochimaru? That's the question. Honestly, I actually don't really see Orochimaru trying to get his body because he becomes Hokage at 15. There's no window where Orochimaru wants his body and he's
And-
not Hokage.
He wouldn't want Sasuke's body either because obviously Itachi's right there.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true. He would probably be one of Itachi's guards.
Well, but Orochimaru could get an Uchiha body easier.
yeah.
That
Just
was his
another-
main prerequisite. He wanted an Uchiha body. He found the
That's true.
Sharingan to be seductive, and that's why
And
he
it'd be
wanted
pretty
it.
easy to get at that point because there's a lot of them.
Alright, let's
Yeah.
ignore all factors and just say the attack still happens, but the person sitting in the chair is now Itachi and not the third Hokage.
It just wouldn't
Okay,
end
so Orochimaru
the
dies.
same way.
So Itachi gives him enough
Maybe
time.
not, but
Let's say that Itachi gives him enough time to raise up the first and second Hokage in this very poorly done Edo Tensei.
Yeah.
wow. All right.
Guys,
It's just
also
straight
remember
roast.
that
Rest in
man.
peace, it's Orochimaru.
the Sasuke recovery mission would never have happened. Sasuke would
Yeah.
never have left with them, period.
Sasuke
he
would
would
have
have
had
no
a lot
reason.
He
sunnier
would've been a normal
disposition as
person.
well.
Well, strong, but like...
Hey,
sunnier
let's look
disposition.
down the line. Would it be Naruto
would've
or
gotten along with
Sasuke as the sixth Hokage? Now that
Naruto.
Sasuke's childhood is so much different.
The events of Naruto aren't
Well,
changed, so he's still the fox.
That's
he's
true.
Still everything. It's
Sasuke was
definitely-
competitive with Itachi, though. I think he would try to be Hokage.
Yeah, but Naruto's stronger than Sasuke, period.
You know, I feel like Naruto might
But
actually have
would,
been friends
would
with
Sasuke be
Sasuke.
stronger with this better childhood, though?
Yeah, Sasuke would have had a support network.
I don't
think
know.
that made
I don't
him
think his eyes
weaker
would have
that he had
activated
the
as
rough
quickly.
childhood. I think it actually was the opposite. I think it made him stronger.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think his eyes would have activated as
Yeah,
quickly.
his eyes activating to Mangekyo.
'Cause he
the
wasn't
training
as
with
much of a-
Orochimaru.
he wasn't as much of a prodigy as Itachi was. So like his eyes and everything, that only came because of the huge stress he underwent,
Possibly.
having lost everyone and all
Wait.
that put together.
Do we think that Naruto would have grown up in a better circumstance with Itachi as Hokage instead of the third Hokage?
Yes.
The video just
Because Itachi would be a lot more careful with the kid that has a beast in him. Because he
I
wouldn't have
think
been
it
like,
would still
Not
be the
that.
third Hokage's responsibility because he was alive at the time that the fourth Hokage died.
Oh.
That event wasn't
True.
changed.
Okay.
oh, so
But
maybe
the third
kid actually
Hokage
paid
might
attention to him now.
have some more time, some free time, to take care of Naruto.
Maybe. Maybe.
I don't think it
Naruto
changes
could
that
just
much.
skip half of his life where he was treated like absolute
His
garbage.
friendship with Sasuke would probably be less rocky. I mean, it would still
Correct.
exist. It would just be normal, like they're friends, basically.
Yeah. Well, his
Well, like,
bond with Sasuke was instrumental in forming the two of them into the people they became.
Yes. I
So-
will
Well, they
say it
also
still
both
exists.
thought that they would be friends, like if they weren't so broken up about everything. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Sasuke probably would have had to make more of an effort to be friends with Naruto if Naruto didn't recognize that Sasuke was also lonely, which was a key point to why Naruto wanted to be friends with Sasuke. Like, I think Sasuke would have to be the one trying to be friends with him, and I don't know whether that would happen or not, actually.
Okay, so for the tuning exams, the event is basically completely stomped by Itachi if they attempt the exact same attack and nothing goes their way. Now, let's go next down the line. What's the big factor where third Hokage was involved? Well, also, Itachi wouldn't have died in that
I mean,
situation.
yeah, there's that.
Yeah, he would have stabbed him and then just turned into crows.
well,
He was like, it was all genjutsu. You've been dead for 30 minutes.
if someone thinks of
Oh,
one in
Lord.
between what I'm about to say it now, but like Naruto versus Pain is what I was going to go over next, unless you have something better.
Well, would that be hugely changed by
Okay, think about
Itachi
it.
being
This is
Hokage?
Tsunade, not third Hokage. Her effects were, she basically almost died in the crushing and then went and healed everybody with the slugs, which obviously Itachi doesn't have that power. But everybody who
Ooh.
died was resurrected, so that's moot.
Oh,
So
Yeah,
there's
true.
that.
now we do the standpoint of
No
would have
tension.
Itachi got crushed like her, or what? I don't actually remember. She got
No,
like, crushed.
I don't
right?
think so.
No, he's too fast, too teleporty, and too stuff. So
He's
Wait, he
Don't
still
better
act
has
like
the
he's smart.
Yatamir.
Huh?
That
Uh,
wouldn't hurt him.
What's
I don't know what
His
that is.
Susanoo
Oh,
has
true.
a
true.
Yatamir that just deflects any type of attack, physical or chakra.
So I think.
Largely
Would he have
unchanged,
been
in
able
my
to
opinion,
connect
with
to
the
Pain?
pain thing.
You would still need Naruto to be there to
No,
connect
no.
to him so that he would raise him from the dead.
I think the
Yeah.
main thing would be Naruto still. I think it would be Itachi and Naruto versus Pain, probably.
Oh.
Now, with the fight, Itachi's
Pain
very
is still
good.
hugely powerful.
No, I know, and obviously
So
this
is
is one
Itachi.
of the coolest parts, and it would be less cool with this scenario. But for storytelling, for like the fact of Leaf survival rate, whatever, I think it would have been easier to take down Pain. Obviously, it's not like it's nothing. I think Naruto is still obviously the only thing that can convince Nagato to change his ways completely, like he did.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't think the event changes too much, other than the speed of how fast they took down the Pains.
Yeah.
Because
agree.
if people died, they'll all be resurrected regardless. So Itachi didn't have to protect them. He didn't know that, but
Itachi would be a lot of help in that whole fight.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Genjutsu gets too strong. His
Hey
Genjutsu
guys,
is too strong.
may I go on like this? It's like not really a tangent, but I have to assume a lot of different things
Okay,
happened
yeah, go
for
ahead.
this to even make sense. Okay, so Itachi grows up as Hokage. After the Pain fight, and Sasuke is still in the village, Itachi and Sasuke trade eyes, both unlocking eternal Mangekyo Sharingans after extensive research into the Uchiha bloodline and how that works. Okay, they go into the Fourth Great Ninja War. Okay, Itachi, now with eternal Sharingan
Oh,
of
God.
his eyes, gets powered up by Naruto during that fight, and this Uzumaki chakra gives Itachi temporary Rinnegan, which at this point Itachi is capable of raising the perfect Susanoo, and he's basically a mecha fight with Madara. with two Renegon perfect Susano fighters. That was it. Okay, we can go back to what you guys were talking about.
Real quick, let's talk about Hinata joining the fight with Naruto, because you have Itachi there, and it's basically you have two targets of good guys instead of just Naruto, who got pinned down there. I don't think she would have ever got hurt, for one, if she even did join. So for another thing is when Hinata jumped in to help Naruto, the situation might be a little different because we have Itachi there as well, and I don't think Hinata would have gotten hurt because, you know, there's no way, I don't think even Naruto would be pinned down because Itachi's there. So I don't think she'd need to help, and even if she did jump in to help, she wouldn't have been injured and fueled the rage of Naruto, which led to a larger fight to the main pain.
We do also have to consider that Sasuke is probably in the area now.
Yeah, because Sasuke's
With
not
Char's
gone.
different personality.
I think kind of on the same page with Itachi, he probably wouldn't have been taken out or injured in the what was it? Something push.
Almighty push.
Almighty push.
Yeah.
Planetary push, maybe.
Shinra
No,
No,
Tensei.
it's
Almighty.
no. I said
Almighty
it. It was a quote. I knew it.
No, you're
It was
close.
Almighty
It's
push.
like Almighty. No, I'm just kidding. Almighty
tell
push
who the
probably
dub
wouldn't have taken out
peasants are.
Sasuke. So we have Sasuke, Itachi, and Naruto versus the Pains. Now the biggest question here is obviously they can take out the Pains fairly easily, not super, but fairly. But is Naruto still able to convince Nagato to change his ways, which results in him resurrecting everybody, with them three fighting the Pains?
Okay.
I
so-
personally think that when it comes to that final place, like when they locate where the
In
final
tree
pain
or the
is,
mountain thing?
the mountain, yeah, I think. Oh, you're right, the tree on top of the mountain. I think Naruto would have told Itachi and Sasuke that he needed to do it alone, because they both had Jiraiya as their sensei, and he understood what Nagato's feeling and stuff like
Okay.
that.
But another thing that I wanted to point out, that I've been thinking about is so Pain's whole thing, right, is that the entire world is a cycle of pain. People can't make true and meaningful peace. You can't overcome hatred. It just begets more hatred. Am I right? Everybody's on the same page there?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
So, keeping that in mind, Itachi and Sasuke being there is a literal counter argument to everything Pain is saying. The fact that the Uchiha survived after, the village basically wanted to take them out. Not only that, they survived, but in this scenario, I'm imagining since Itachi is Hokage, they're thriving. They've integrated into the community in this hypothetical.
They're still
Like
the
it's a
police force,
literal it's a literal example of how he can be wrong. Like people who formerly
Right.
hated each other and you didn't think that was
Oh, yeah.
overcomeable, it's right there. Also, as far as the police force thing, you just made me think of a small thing. If Itachi became Hokage, I actually think that he would push for them to integrate other clans being able to join the police force and Uchiha being able to do things other than police, because that was
Right.
part of the
Yeah.
tensions that happened. If you only have this one clan that runs the police, of course people can look at that and be like, well, they could be corrupt.
Okay.
And you can't disprove it because there's no check and balance on it that the common people can see.
Okay, so you're talking about basically an argument in the tree, not really an argument, almost a discussion of Itachi and Sasuke pointing out that the hatred between Uchiha and the clan is gone, and they're an example of that.
Or
along with
Naruto could point it out, because if he was
okay, so
friends
yeah,
with Sasuke,
he could point it
Sasuke would
out.
likely have told him the whole story.
I don't know. No, that is all true, and for like the argument factor, yes, it is piling on to it against Nagato, but you also have the fact that it's three people talking to Nagato instead of just the one who made an example.
Well, I was saying Naruto could tell him if Naruto had entered alone.
Oh, okay.
But if Sasuke and
That wouldn't be
Itachi had
too
been
bad.
fighting with him earlier, like you're literally seeing Naruto, who is, a Konoha ninja, fighting side by side with the Uchiha, who were supposed to be eliminated years ago. And it didn't happen.
Would
They
Naruto
overcame
even know
that.
that?
I'm
mean, he'd
saying
have to
Naruto
tell
would
him,
be
but-
able to tell him that.
I guess. I don't know if it'd be really impactful just because Nagato doesn't know enough about that conflict that didn't happen. See what I'm saying?
It's something that could be added onto it. I'm not saying it would be the sole
Well, no,
determining factor.
that conflict was there for all the way back to Madara and the first.
Yeah.
That conflict was
Oh,
there
well,
all the way up
yeah.
until that point with Itachi.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Itachi,
it's
for
not
adding
like it's
that.
been a total secret that the Uchiha don't get
Okay.
along with the Senju.
That's a good point. I'm gonna say that I don't think it helps the chances of Nagato doing it. I don't know if it makes it worse. I don't think it makes it better.
I actually don't think that Naruto could convince him to resurrect the other people, because
I
I
don't
think
know.
the Leaf would be very strong. You know, have a trained police force, and they have all these people that are still alive and thriving, and you have like Sasuke and Itachi there as well, helping support. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not sure how they would protect against the Almighty Push, so that might kill a few people.
It will kill
Yeah.
many. Also,
would
when
Because
Naruto gets stabbed, is Itachi and Sasuke just gonna sit out there and just let it happen, or are they gonna rush in and attack Nagato? Think about that.
I think even if they rushed in, he would still tell him to stay back.
Okay, I'll let that slide.
That is the type of person he is.
No, yeah, because his intentions was still
Well-
not to fight him. I know.
But here's my question. So a very pivotal part of that fight is the fact that Naruto loses control to the Nine
Yes.
Tails. How do we propose that would happen if Hinata isn't injured?
Actually, what I was just thinking is I
I don't
don't
think
think
this-
this affects the
Itachi
fight that much
still.
because if you think about all it resulted in was him beating the final pain, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Did
But it also resulted in him meeting his father, which otherwise, how are we gonna have that happen?
that's true, but let's ignore that for a second and think about did him transforming into Eight Tails, Nine Tails, change his argument
8.5?
towards Nagato at all? I don't think it affected it. I don't think it was mentioned. So all it would result in was Sasuke, Naruto, and Itachi would beat the final pain still. So I think it actually ends in the same place.
Okay.
Because I don't think it was affected in the or mentioned at all in the argument or at all. Yeah. Did I say
I
at
think he
all?
could still
Okay.
potentially go into that nine-tail state if somehow Sasuke was injured, or again if he saw Kakashi.
I could see it.
I don't know if he originally saw Kakashi
I don't think
I don't-
Kakashi
when
would
he showed
die.
up.
He knew about Kakashi. He showed up in Sage mode, and he asked. It
Oh,
was
he couldn't
Sakura
feel
or
his
Tsunade. He
chakra.
said, "I don't
Yeah.
feel his chakra. Is he on a
That
mission outside
hurt.
the village?" And she said,
That
"No."
was, yeah, that was
And he
such a
just
heavy
goes,
moment.
"Okay."
Ugh.
That was really
man.
painful.
But that
I would've
didn't
lost
turn
it right
him
there.
into any close
Oh.
anything. He was still
The
in
fact
Sage
that he
mode, so
stayed
I don't know.
calm hurt me more. Like,
He
I
had
think
to.
So
because
that-
I
when
knew
someone
he was
literally
just stuffing it down
confesses,
deep.
their love.
I actually
man.
don't think that Kakashi would die. I think that Pain's attack wouldn't just get as far. Like, see, Naruto's training in Sage Jutsu, so we have like Sasuke, Itachi, and Kakashi at the village. I don't think his attack would get that far. Maybe if he did the Almighty Push, really early.
He
But I don't
did
know
do
how
it
they
pretty
defend
early,
against
I
that.
think.
It was pretty early.
I think he pretty much floated up and did it.
Yeah.
Well, they started trying. They started trying to fight the multiple pains in the village. They had figured out they were there and started trying to fight them.
Oh, they did.
But I
Okay.
don't think it had progressed very far before he used Almighty Push.
The question is, would one of the pains be able to distract Itachi enough? And I guess Sasuke, to where he could do the Almighty Push without hindrance. I don't think it can be stopped
Itachi already
anyway.
knows of Pain's abilities.
Yes, but think about
But
this.
would he if he hadn't been in the Akatsuki?
Perhaps not.
Would he have
Perhaps,
had a
but-
reason to know? I mean,
Guys, I don't think
Konoha
there's
didn't
really
know.
a defense for Almighty Push as soon as he started it. It's pushing everything away from him, and he's way up in the air. I don't think anything can
yeah, I
really
think it would
prevent
still happen.
The only idea I have is if somehow Itachi jumped really high and put the shield right in his face, and that would protect everybody. But I don't know how he'd get that high. It's not in
Oh.
Itachi's abilities.
So Itachi would obviously easily
yeah.
be protected, like you said, but he could protect like the main building pretty easily, the Hokage building, just with Susanoo. And
Yeah,
maybe even
right.
more if he did like the full-on huge one, which I don't think he really used.
He wouldn't have had it by then. Like, it
Yeah.
takes so long to get the perfect Susanoo.
Oh yeah, right.
So he would have
Yeah.
protected
Fair.
the building pretty easily. I think that
Yeah.
push is pretty strong. It might have. It wouldn't have broken the
I don't know.
but it
Susan
really
knows.
pushed it into
You
the
can't
counter.
Well,
break
he
the
also
shield.
has,
He has the Yatamir. It doesn't matter what you have. You can't break
He also
through that.
has the urn, doesn't he? That can seal
Yes,
things.
you
You
stab
could just
people and then
seal
they get
things.
sucked and sealed in the urn.
Would that
Wait,
work
he
on
had
the
that?
That would
pained
work even
bodies?
on Kaguya if he was fast enough and could strike him.
Her.
It worked
Yeah.
on Nagato. So we know that.
Oh,
It did
yeah.
work on Nagato?
I guess later in the war,
Yeah.
I think.
That was because
I've
Nagato
only
was
seen it back
slow,
once.
but
Oh, he let him. Yeah, that's right.
if he could strike Tendo Pain, it would seal him.
Okay, I think there's a slim
Interesting.
chance that Naruto actually convinces Nagato then. A slim one. Like, they have to wait outside. They'd have to not... He'd have to stop him from attacking if he got stabbed.
So
when
they
he got
actually
stabbed.
lose more people.
He'd
I
still
think so,
have
actually.
the same teacher,
I think 5 out of 6
and that was
times...
a lot of what it boiled down to.
I know, but the fact... I don't know. It's less impactful because it was 3 people attacking the Pains instead of just himself. At least to
Would he
Killer,
use it
but to
at the
Nagato.
very end for Madara then? Would he
Wait, what's that
attempt to use
saved
it for him?
So you're saying if he didn't use it for the village, would he try to save Madara?
Right before he died, would he give him the body like he was supposed to originally?
Yeah, Renee Rebirth. What do you think?
Yes.
I don't know.
Before we answer that, I think there's another question I had in mind. Shoot, oh no, I know I had it. Dang it! I had it. I had my question. It needed to be said before we discussed that. It's like, I got it. Would Nagato still see Naruto as the prophecy that Jiraiya spoke of?
Oh, that's a good point. With them three
That's the
fighting,
question.
I
Very
don't
good
know.
question.
Huh.
You know, this is interesting because that means that that means Itachi had to do what he did for the prophecy to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
No. No.
And what you were saying before, I don't think there's a path where he doesn't heal the village and doesn't heal Madara. I don't think there's a middle ground like, oh, you're right, but I'm not going to heal everybody, you know? So I think it's either they
Yep.
convince him to switch or they don't. So it's either Madara or not. So if
Naruto
they
is
don't,
still
Madara is
insanely
raised.
convincing, though. Like, I don't think that would be changed, even if he was fighting with two
I
other
think
people.
it's about a 60% chance that Naruto would succeed in convincing him.
Okay.
Sorry to
I think
interrupt.
it's a 61% chance.
I'm fine with that.
I think it's a 69%
like
chance.
I said, it's
I knew
definitely,
you were gonna say
in
that.
my opinion, not a better.
But
it's
that's
not
genuinely what
better.
I believe.
It's not better than before. It makes it worse.
No, it's a little bit worse, but I think it's doable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think like generally is
Believe it.
better.
What is it?
We'll push into the war arc.
I think so.
I don't
It
know
gets
if we
real
have time.
complex. Yeah.
Really complex.
I think the war
And
arc is way
also
too
the-
difficult to tackle. Like,
The war arc wouldn't be too much different because
And
you have
we're going
Itachi
to
was
assume
there
that
already.
Kaguya doesn't exist because she ruined the story anyway, so I'm gonna throw her away.
Yeah, let's take just like a couple minutes to talk this out real quick. The war arc
No
Okay.
such thing.
wouldn't have been
Pause.
changed too much. You know, Minato's still dead, so he comes back the same way. Itachi's there, but in real form, not in ghost form.
Wait, why would Itachi come? Oh, sorry, why would Minato come back the same way? Orochimaru would still have to be alive for that.
Okay. Yes, if they killed Orochimaru in the tuning exam attack, yes, but that probably would never have happened. I don't think he would have attacked. He doesn't have a grudge against Itachi. He had a grudge
or I
against the
think
third
he'd
Hokage.
back down really quickly.
Yes,
Well,
so...
what was then for
He is very good at escaping.
Orochimaru resurrecting the Kage?
But here's the thing, though. Kabuto resurrected everybody.
Not the Kage.
Oh, yeah. You're
It
right.
was
You're
Guys,
right.
Orochimaru.
do you remember?
But also,
That's
like,
true.
the reason the Kage were resurrected was because Orochimaru wanted to answer Sasuke's questions so he could decide whether to destroy the leaf or not, which he wouldn't have any motivation to do if Itachi was alive and his whole clan was
Hopefully.
alive.
That's a good point. Let's, for sake of simplifying this, let's just replace the fact that, I guess, Kakashi was Hokage, whoever. Maybe Tsunade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Tsunade.
It was Kakashi.
Replace Tsunade with Itachi.
Right. Kakashi.
in the war, and don't care about the past being different. Just the war is replaced with Itachi's not dead, and he's the Hokage.
Okay.
So the 5 Kage lineup is looking really badass now.
The five Kage fight would have gone differently. Now,
It would have gone very
she
differently.
showed up there. She showed up the strongest, I think, which was like compared to Gaara
Tsunade?
being there. I think during that
Well,
fight,
the Tsuchi Kage had the biggest effect in that fight.
maybe it was. Yeah, they're all strong. I mean, they're not Naruto level, but like they're all strong.
I would argue that the Mizukage is disappointing
Mizukage?
in that fight.
Yeah.
She had
The-
her uses, but
Well,
Yeah,
I was trying to
she's
think of the
probably
5 Kage
weakest.
lineup, and I was like, okay, this one's impressive, this one's impressive. What the are you doing, Mizukage? And then I was like moving on
Well,
to the next.
Gotta get
No,
that one
yeah.
out of there.
We'll have to beep it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to.
She did heal them though. I think
She
he
did,
would have
which
protected
Itachi
him though. I
doesn't
think he would
really-
have probably protected
yeah.
him with Susanoo initially. Pretty much the same result there.
Hmm.
I think so, yeah.
And the war
Only
was
it
still
looked
fought
cooler.
by Naruto and Sasuke, who are much stronger than Itachi at that state, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
As far as
they
sheer
would
strength,
still be stronger than
yes.
him regardless, but let's say
Tactical
like, if
sense,
he
no.
wasn't going blind, was Hokage, was maybe switched eyes with Sasuke, whatever, to where he's just strong, he wouldn't be as strong as
He'd be
Naruto
able to
and
stand
Sasuke
on the
still.
same playing field, though.
But yeah, he would definitely be strong.
More than Sakura should.
Yeah, I was about to say
On the
that.
same playing field.
I was about
Finally
to say
caught
that.
up. I've finally caught up with those two.
are we saying that Itachi has
And
eternal
Itachi's like,
eyes?
you're standing in my spot.
We're just saying
If they switch,
basically
that's
in
the
some
assumption.
path that he doesn't go blind, whether it was switching eyes, whatever. And he's fighting the war
They
with
take
him.
Danzo's eyes.
I think the war goes fairly similar. It's gonna be easier.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be harder. But
Yeah, I want to say it wouldn't be changed all that much.
yeah, you still have the powerhouses doing most of it.
Konoha would be a little stronger. You'd have more Uchiha,
A
so...
little.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot stronger, but like,
They're still ants
ultimately
and
the foot soldiers didn't matter that much when
Yeah,
Madara showed
That's what
up.
my point was.
So
the
that's
foot
why I said a
soldiers-
little.
Okay, yeah.
Even foot soldiers with Sharingan.
So everyone's pretty much in agreement in that outcome.
I think so.
Yes.
I don't think agreement is a word, though. I do
It
think
is, though.
agreement is the word
It's
you
weird
were
because
looking
you
for.
understood me though. It's not a word. What
Same
the
here.
heck was I saying?
It's just because I've been on the internet and I know when people mess up words.
Actually,
so-
I'm pretty sure I looked this up before.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You guys already stopped me on this, and I'm pretty sure he looked it up. Maybe.
Let's see.
I'm hoping I'm right, but I don't really care. You guys knew what I meant.
Agreeance
We
is
were
the
talking about the
act of
5
agreeing.
Kage fight. You
What
said
was
it
that?
would basically go the
Kyran?
same.
All right, dictionary.com. Agreeance. Noun. The act of agreeing. Usage of the site constitutes agreeance with these terms, as an example. Usage. Considered obsolete and a bastardization of agreement.
It's in the dictionary.
It's very
Obsolete
old-fashioned.
doesn't matter.
Obsolete.
And I don't know
Okay,
who
Obsolete
that
Shakespeare.
is,
other
but
than
Sage
me,
is
but
also
it's a
very
real
old-fashioned.
word. Proven.
It
Thank you.
sounds cooler.
Obsolete.
Anyway,
It doesn't,
It does
though.
sound
Obsolete just
cooler.
means
It
others don't
does.
use it. We're in agreement.
All right, so now that we're all in agreement on that. Anyways.
This is why we can't have world peace.
What was that, Ledge?
the 5 Kage fight. What did we agree on?
That it wouldn't have been changed too much because at the end of the day, Tsunade healed them, and I think the difference would have been Itachi protected them with Susanoo, so they would have never
Right.
gotten cut in half or whatever. Well, she got cut in half. They would have never gotten almost killed in the first place.
She got crushed in half.
Wait, who were they fighting there? Madara?
Madara.
Madara. Yeah,
I think
it was
it
the
was
5
Madara,
Kage
yeah.
versus Madara.
What happened at the very end? Did he like leave?
I think he left.
After beating them almost to death, he only did that to test the current Kage's strength
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
in that era, and then after beating them half to death, he just left to go on to the next part of his plan.
Okay, so let's say that it would have been a good bit more challenging for him, but he probably still
He
would have
was still in
escaped.
Edo
You can't
Tensei,
put
right?
him in Genjutsu. He's in Edo Tensei.
Yeah,
Wait,
you
did he
can't-
turn into a real person in the middle of that?
No, not in the
No,
middle.
No,
his
that
soul
was-
trying to
It was
get pulled
after
out.
he went to the other
Oh.
battleground.
He was trapped by
Right.
Hashirama
That
and
was
then
so
got
cool.
resurrected
And
and
he's like,
busted
no, I'm
out
just
of it.
not gonna leave. I'm gonna actually just turn into a person. I don't remember exactly, but that was funny.
It's like, joke's on you.
Wait, my soul's getting pulled out? Nah.
Well, we have definitely gone over time, but I think it was worth it for that topic.
I mean,
But
I think it was worth it to hear such good input from Athena. Like, it's really good to get to know our
She's
newest
not too
member.
familiar currently with Naruto. She has watched it about 10 years in the past, so that's why she couldn't comment.
Yeah.
Plus,
Well, she didn't even
left.
She'll
watch
have
all
a-
of it, so
she'll have more input on future
she
topics.
has
So don't worry about it.
she has a personal life, unlike the rest of us.
Oof.
Hey, it's I'm attacking myself too. Don't worry.
That's good. We all usually attack you anyways. So thank you
I
once
know.
again, everybody, for listening to this point, and we will hope you. Yeah, I messed that up. Don't worry about it. We hope you will join us again next time.
Peace.